Now, our last question is here with us. And they have said that find the equation of a perpendicular to the line below at its y-intercept. Leave your answer in the form of y is equals to mx plus c. So I've been given here the equation of that line. And the equation of the line is this. So I've been told that the equation of the line is, so let me just try to draw a Cartesian plane so that we can make a sketch of this. So I've said, find the equation of the perpendicular to the line below at its y-intercept. So the line given is 4 over 9x minus 1 over 3y. The answer is equal to 1. So you're supposed to get the equation of a perpendicular to this line at its y-intercept. Let's say, for example, this is our line. This is our line. The one I've actually been able to get given the equation. So you're told to get the equation of a perpendicular to the line at its y-intercept. Okay. So at its y-intercept, so I have this as, look at that. So that means this is our first line. And the equation is 4 over 9x minus 1 over 3y is equals to 1. So you're told to get the equation of another line, now a perpendicular to this line. But this first line and this perpendicular are perpendicular to each other at the y-intercept of this first line. Correct. So let's proceed. We want now to get the equation of this perpendicular to this line. So let me take this to be my line 1 and this to be my line 2. My first line L1 is able to have an equation which is 4 over 9x minus 1 over 3y which is equals to 1. My second line L2 is perpendicular to this first line at the y-intercept of the first line. So what's the equation of this line 2? Let's first write this equation in the form y is equals to mx plus c so that you can be able to know its gradient. Once you have the gradient of this first line, you can get the gradient of this line 2. So you'll come here and then say 4 over 9x minus 1 over 3y is equals to 1. Remember, we can't do anything in the line 2 at the moment. We do not have any coordinates whatsoever that are along that line L2. But we can be able to maneuver around and then first rewrite this equation of line 1 in the form y is equals to mx plus c. Once you have the form of this equation in this form, you see, it is easier for us to draw the gradient, which is m. And once we have the gradient of this L1, we shall get the gradient of L2. So let's begin. We'll first take this 4 over 9x onto this other side. So we shall be left with 1 over 3 negative. Okay? Y is equals to 1 minus 4 over 9x. When I take 4 over 9x onto this other side of the equal sign, I'll be left with negative 1 over 3y. So negative 1 over 3y is equal to 1, the one already here, minus 4 over 9x. So I'll write minus 1 over 3y is equal to minus 4 over 9x plus 1. Why do I say minus 4 over 9x? Because I have to begin with the mx and then go to c, the constant. So I'll have to rearrange this so that it start with the 4 over 9x and then 1 has to be our constant, now c. Okay? So we'll divide all through by negative 1 over 3, by negative 1 over 3, by negative 1 over 3. So this and this will proceed, and we shall have this as our equation. The equation is y is equals to, so it's just negative 4 over 9 divided by negative 1 over 3. So negative 4 over 9 divided by negative 1 over 3. So that is 1 and a third is our answer. So we shall have y is equals to 1 and a third, or 4 over 3, x, which is positive. Then, of course, it will be minus because it's positive 1 divided by negative a third. It is just minus 3. So I'm not wrong. It's just 1 divided by negative 1 over 3. And it's negative 3. Okay, so our gradient in this case is going to be 4 over 3 because the equation is in the form y is equals to mx plus c. So y, m is the gradient, we have x here, our constant is -3. So that means that line intersects the y-axis at 3. It is negative. So we shall be able to have something just somewhere down here. But forget about this. It was just a sketch for us to confirm how that has to appear or how those lines intersect. So if I have to draw that, and then I'm supposed to have this as my line, then maybe this. So they intersect at this point. So this is my first line, which is 4/9 x minus 1/3 y is equals to 1. Okay. Then this is the line 2, the perpendicular line to that first line. So they are forming 90 degrees. And this line 1 intersects the y-axis as -3. So this is not a clear picture of what you're supposed to have. But it was an idea of what you're supposed to have actually gotten. So the first line, L1, 4/9 x minus 1/3 y is equals to 1. Our perpendicular line to the first line, that's line 2. So line 1 and line 2. So they intersect at -3 on the y-axis. Because this is C, the constant, the y-intercept, where that line intersects the y-axis at -3. So if the gradient of this first line is 4/3, then that means the gradient of this second line is going to be -3/4. I think I told you that when two lines are perpendicular to each other, then the first gradient, m1 of the first line, times the second gradient, m2 of the second line, the answer must be -1. So m1 times m2 is equals to -1. So that means if the gradient of the first line is 4/3, and you want to get the gradient of the second line, just get the reciprocal. If it is positive, it becomes negative. So the reciprocal of 4/3 is 3/4. Then your twos are negative sign because this first gradient is positive. So the gradient of the second line is -3/4. So this is our second line. So this is L1. We are done with it. The y-intercept is -3. Okay? And the gradient is 4/3. So the L2 gradient is -3/4. And then if this was our y-intercept, and we had this one as our x, so this is y, this is x, and this was our first line, that are intersecting at -3. That means at this point, if the value of x is -3, what is the value of y? Or the value of y is -3, what is the value of x? When the value of y is -3, the value of x is obviously 0. So the coordinate at this point is 0, then -3. Correct. So if this is the value of y, this becomes the value of x. At any point where the line cuts the y-axis, the value of x is 0. And at any point where the line cuts the x-axis, the value of y is 0. So at this point, where this line, L1, intersects with this L2, the line perpendicular to it, you see, when the value of y is -3, there's no value of x, so the value of x is 0. You get the point? So I have a line where the gradient is -3/4 and the coordinates are 0, -3. I can get the equation of that line very easily. What do? I just come here and then say -3/4 as the gradient should be equal to y minus -3/x minus 0. Because I know the gradient is -3/4 and the coordinates are 0, -3. So once you have a gradient, which is m, and you have a pair of points of the coordinates, you can be able to get the equation of a straight line. Just say -3/4, the gradient is equals to y minus the other y, -3, over x minus the other x is 0. So then you can be able to have -3/4 is equals to y minus -3 becomes +3 over x minus 3, that's just x. So let's cross multiply. So we'll have 4 times y, that is 4y, plus 4 times 3, that is 12. That must be equal to -3x. We'll take 12 to this side. So shall be left with 4y is equals to -3x minus 12. We divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. I don't know if you can be able to see that, but let's just proceed to this end. So I've said we have 4y plus 12 is equals to -3x. So I've said let me take 12 on this other side. So it will be 4y is equals to -3x minus 12. So divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. So that means our y is equals to -3/4x minus 3. That becomes the equation of that. So you can even confirm The gradient is negative 3 over 4. That is it. And then at the same time, that line also intersects the y-axis as negative 3. So it still just gives you the answer. Point of intersection, the y-intercept with the c of that line 2 is still negative 3. So that confirms that that is the correct answer you're supposed to have in terms of what you need to know. You can even just still write down without even calculating. You can just come here and say, the equation should be in the form y is equals to mx plus c. So just say y is equals to, what is your m? Negative 3 over 4x. Then what's the y-intercept? Negative 3. That becomes your answer. You don't even need to calculate. That gives you your answer for that question.